Hello children, hope you are all fine. Everyone is doing your work properly. Happy to meet you in this revision class. Today we are going to revise for the term 2 portions. Your term 2 exam is going to arrive soon, and everyone is doing your work properly by completing the class work, I think. Now, the portion included for term 2 is chapter 12, 16 and 17. So 3 chapters are there for biological science. That is chapter 12, reproduction in plants, chapter 16, water, a precious resource, and chapter 17, forests, our lifeline. 3 chapters are there for this term 2. Already in online assessment 4, we have included chapter 12. So in this class, we are going to revise 2 chapters, that is chapter 12 and 16. And chapter 12 is reproduction in plants. Reproduction in plants. Hope you all remember the points what we have discussed. Anyhow, we shall recall only the important points of this lesson. First, what is reproduction? Reproduction is nothing but producing the young ones or producing the new plants of its same species, producing the young ones of same species, or producing the individuals of the same species is called reproduction. It ensures the continuity of the life. It is an important process in our life, as it ensures the continuity of the life. And this reproduction is of 2 types. That is asexual and sexual mode of reproduction. So reproduction is of 2 types, that is asexual and sexual mode of reproduction. What is the asexual mode of reproduction? That is without the formation of the seeds. So I think you all know how the plants reproduce. How we produce a new plant by sowing the seeds, is it not? So, without the seeds, if a new plant starts growing, means that mode of reproduction is called asexual mode of reproduction. And this asexual mode of reproduction is of various types. In the different types are there, and that is, one by one let us see. Budding. Hope you all remember that unicellular organism, that is yeast. It reproduces by the process called budding. That means a new bud will arise in case of yeast. Example, yeast. If this is the yeast, within this bud-like structure will arise, and that will start to grow as a new individual. So a new individual starts from a small bud of an organism is called budding. The process is called budding. Next one, fission. Example, well-known example, bacteria and amoeba and all. What will happen? The new individual will start to grow when the parent individual divides into two. That is, a new constriction will occur in the center, and the nucleus will also divide. All the cellular materials also will divide into two equal halves, and they start to grow as a new individual. So this process of developing an individual in this method is called fission, division of a cell into two. And the next one is fragmentation. Fragmentation means what? For example, in case of Spirogyra, I think all of you know this one. It is a filamentous ribbon-like structure. Spirogyra and all will be a ribbon-like, a lengthy one, and it will have several fragments in them. And inside everything, the nucleus and the nuclear cellular materials, everything will be present. And these will divide into fragments. A single stranded Spirogyra will divide into fragments, small pieces. Fragments means broken pieces. And each divided fragments will develop into a new individual. So this method of reproduction from the fragments of an individual is called fragmentation. Next one, spore formation. Spore formation. In case of bread mold, I think all of you know the bread mold fungi and all, what will happen is they will produce the spores. If this is the bread mold, hypha and all will be there. Inside there is a small cyst. Spores will be present. And then this sporangium, this is called sporangium 4, when it is get matured and burst out, the spores will be released. And each spore is a single cell. Inside this lot of spores are there, and each spore is a single cell. Inside this the nucleus and all the materials needed for the reproduction, everything will be present. And this will be protected by a hard covering called cyst. This cyst is nothing but a hard protective covering for the spore. Spore is a single cell. It will be protected by a hard covering called cyst, and when it receives the favorable condition, that means when it gets the enough sunlight, water, or what is that, air, everything which is needed for the life, if it receives, it will, that the cyst will be broken and it will develop into a new individual. So till that, the spore will remain safe inside the cyst. And when the favorable conditions are present, it will develop into a new individual. This type of reproduction is called spore formation. And next one is the vegetative propagation, and the last one. So in asexual method of reproduction is of two types. In that asexual reproduction, 5 types are there. One is budding, example yeast. Second one, fission, example bacteria. Third, fragmentation in case of Spirogyra. Then spore formation in bread mold. Next one, vegetative propagation. The last one is vegetative propagation. In the vegetative propagation, what are the vegetative parts of a plant? The parts which are involved in reproduction are called reproductive parts. The parts which are not involved in the process of reproduction is called vegetative parts. So like that, root, stem, leaf. So these are all vegetative parts of the plant, and some plants they reproduce through this vegetative part, and such type of reproduction is called vegetative propagation. Example, root, radish, sweet potato. Those and all will reproduce through their roots. Next, in case of ginger, turmeric. In such cases and all, the vegetative part like stem acts as a reproductive part and it helps in the production of new individuals. In case of bryophyllum, the leaf, with the help of the notches present at the edge of the leaf. So if this is the leaf of bryophyllum, at the edges some notches will be present, and from that new leaves or the new plant will start to grow when it comes in contact with the soil. So like this, through the vegetative parts, if a plant reproduces, means that process is called vegetative propagation. So in asexual method, budding, fission, fragmentation, spore formation, and the last one is vegetative propagation. In that, from the root, stem, leaf, everything is present. So from these, the whole asexual method may be asked in 5-mark questions or 3-mark questions, and also in 1 and 2 marks also this may be asked individually. For example, bryophyllum reproduces through dash, like that. Understand? So all the points you have to remember about the asexual mode of reproduction. Next one, sexual mode of reproduction. Sexual mode of reproduction. What is the sexual mode of reproduction? Fusion of male and female gametes. Fusion of male and female gametes. So in plants, what are the male and female parts? So male part is nothing but the anther or the pollen grains. Pollen grains. And the female part is the pistil. So these are the male and female parts of a flower. Flower is the reproductive part of a plant. Generally, flower is the reproductive part. The flower only will change into the fruit. The fruit consists of the seeds, and the seeds helps in the production of new plants. So, flower is the reproductive part that helps in the reproduction. So, in the flower, these pollen grains and pistil will be present, which are the male and female part of the plant. And this pollen grain consists of 2 parts, that is anther and filament. Anther and filament. Like this. This is anther and this is filament. And in case of a pistil, in hibiscus and all, you can view this very easily. This is the style, stigma, and the basal part is the swollen part, and it is called ovary. Inside this ovules will be present, and it is converted into seeds. So this is the part. Together all these three are called as pistil, which is the female part of the plant. And when this anther or the pollen, inside this anther only pollen grains will be present. And when this pollen grain falls into the stigma, it reaches that ovary and fertilization takes place. And the new seeds will be, fruit will be formed. And this transfer of pollen grains, from anther to stigma, from anther to stigma is called pollination. So, the plants reproduce in both the method asexual and sexual method. In asexual method we discussed 5 pollens, and in the sexual method the male and female gametes are produced, that is the anther, and that female gamete ovary, that is that anther falls into the stigma of the flower and fertilization takes place. Fertilization means nothing but the fusion of male and female gametes. And this transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma is called pollination. Only if pollination takes place, fertilization will be followed. And this pollination is of 2 types, that is self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination means what? Transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of the same flower. Cross-pollination means transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another flower of the same plant or another plant. That is called cross-pollination. So I think you understand the difference between the fertilization and pollination. Pollination means transfer of pollen grains. Fertilization means fusion of male and female gametes. Next one. In this asexual method, we saw that vegetative propagation through stem, root and leaves. Is it not? So, vegetative propagation, that the budding, the fission, everything, spore formation, everything is of natural process. Then, artificial process are also there. Understand? In that artificial process, asexual method of reproduction, that is layering, then cutting, then third one grafting, next tissue culture. So these 4 types are there in case of artificial process of asexual method. That means naturally occurs, means that is called natural process, and if we, the human beings, take steps to produce new plants, means that is called artificial process. In that the first one is the layering. That means in case of jasmine or any other plant, what we will do means we will bend the lower branch of a plant into the soil, then that portion under the soil will develop roots and shoot above the ground and a new plant will be produced. Such type of production of new plants is called layering. Example for that is jasmine. Next one, cutting. That means we will cut the stem part and we will sow that or we will plant, that means that a separated part means it will develop into a new plant. For example, sugar cane, then rose plant, everything. So with the help of the stem part, if we cut a portion of the plant, an individual plant, and if we plant it means the new plant will be produced. Next one, grafting. So in this, two plants will be joined together and a desired quantity, desired quality plant will be produced. New varieties will be produced. That means the rooted portion or the lower portion of one plant and the desired plant, what we desire to grow, that plant will be cut. A part of the stem will be cut and both will be joined together. And they will be allowed to grow and a new variety will be produced. Such type of production of new plant is called grafting. In this, two parts are there, that is stalk and scion. Stalk is nothing but the rooted plant. The plant which have roots and it is attached to the soil. That part is called, that is the bottom portion. That is called, under the soil it will have roots and it will be cut down. So this portion is called stalk. Above that, another portion will be cut and take from some other plant. That will be kept at the top layer. And this is the scion. So two plants of desired variety will be cut and joined together and a new variety will be produced. That method is called grafting. Next one, tissue culture. That is in the lab condition. Using the plant hormones. Plant hormones like auxin. Some other hormones or growth hormones will be introduced and the plants will be grown in an artificial environment. Such method of reproduction and a new plant will be produced, that is called tissue culture. A separate cell taken from a plant and it will be allowed to grow in the lab conditions, that is called as tissue culture. So, hope you all understand about that asexual and sexual mode of reproduction. Next one, after this, pollination, everything I explained. And this pollination, how it occurs? That means, pollination means what? Transfer of pollen grains from the anther to stigma. Is it not? Transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. And this pollination, self-pollination and cross-pollination I explained. And this pollination, how it takes place, that is, some agents help this pollination to occur. That is called as agents of pollination. As the pollen grains are very light, they will be carried away easily by the wind. When the wind blows, the lightweight pollen grains will be carried away by the wind and it will reach some other plant and it will start to germinate. Fertilization will take place. So in this way, because of the wind, the pollen grains will be transferred from one flower or one plant to another plant from one place to another. Another one, by insects. When the insects visit the flower for sucking honey, the nectar, the pollen grains will be attached to the body of the insects. As these pollen grains are sticky in nature, they will stick to the body of the insects. And when these insects they visit another flower, that pollen grain attached to the body of the insect will be dropped in some other flower and fertilization takes place. So in this way, the agents like wind and insects help for pollination. And after the fertilization, the seeds will be produced after the male and female part fuse together. As a result of fertilization, what will happen? New seeds will be produced. And these seeds, they will disperse to various places. Again, with the help of water, wind, animals, and we the human beings also. So, agents of pollination is because of wind and insects. Next one, dispersal of seeds. And these dispersal of seeds takes place through wind. That is, in some cases like drumstick and maple and all, the seeds will have wings. So they will be very light also. And it will be scattered, carried away by the wind, and it will be moving from one place to another. Why the seed dispersal must be there? Only if the seeds get dispersed, all the seeds will get enough water, air and place or warmth for their growth. If all the seeds are fallen down in the same place, means there will be competition for them, and the result, that is the individuals that are produced will not be of a high quality because of the lack of nutrients, air, water, sunlight and all. So the seeds must be dispersed. The dispersal of seeds is very important. So for this, the wind helps. Some adaptations are there in the seeds also. In that, the seeds with wings and lightweight seeds will be carried. With the wings, example, drumstick seeds and maple will have wings, and they will be carried away by the wind. Next one, through water, like coconut, they have these seeds have the outer fibrous coat, which allows them to float on water, and it will be dispersed to various places. Next one, through animals. Some seeds will have spines or hook-like structures. Example, xanthium. These seeds which have hooks or spines will get attached to the body of the animals or to the clothes of the human beings, and it will be carried to various places, and they will fall off after some times, and they will start to germinate. So with the help of animals or human beings also it gets dispersed. Another one, birds also helps in the dispersal of seeds. They will eat the fruits. So along their feces, the animals or the bird feces, the seeds will be dropped in all the places, and it will, when it gets favorable condition, it will start to grow. Next method, explosion of seeds. For example, in case of lady's finger, then cotton seeds will have the wings, and they will be carried by the wind. here lady's finger, castor. So in those and all, after the fruit gets ripened, they will burst out. And the seeds will be ejected out with force and it will be dispersed in their surroundings. To some distance it will get dispersed and they will start to grow. So this method of reproduction is, this method of dispersal is called explosive method. The fruits will burst out. Okay, so these are the various ways through which the plants are reproduced and how they get pollinated. That means transfer of pollen grains, how it happens, then how the seeds are produced. The process of fusion of male and female gametes is called fertilization. And after that, the seeds will be produced, how they get dispersed, the agents of dispersal and advantages of a dispersion. Everything we revise now. These are the points we discussed in chapter 12, reproduction in plants. Hope you all understand. Next chapter, chapter 16, water, a precious resource. So, chapter 12, reproduction in plants, we discussed various points, different methods of reproduction, examples, then how the seeds are produced, how they get dispersed, advantages, everything. The next chapter 16, water, a precious resource. So whenever you read or write, concentrate on spellings. If you pronounce the words properly, spelling mistakes will not arise. So if you try to pronounce the words easily by syllabifying the words, and also while you write also, say the word louder and write. Then only spelling mistakes will not come. Next one, chapter is water, a precious resource. So you all know that water is a vital fluid. Vital means what? An important fluid, very important for our life. And not only for human beings, water is very essential for plants, animals, for everything. All living creatures, water is very important. Without water, we can't live. It is also one of the basic essential. And this water regulates the body temperature, helps in transportation in plants, movement of nutrients. In our body also, blood is in the liquid form. Along with that, all the nutrients are carried to all parts of the body. In the same way, plants also, transportation is done with the help of water. It regulates the temperature. It helps in bringing rainfall. So like this, various importance are there for water, and also the water acts as a habitat for many animals, aquatic animals. They live in water. If water is not present, aquatic animals will not be there. So the water acts as a habitat also. Like this. Next, to know the importance of water, the World Water Day is also observed. World Water Day is observed. Do you know when it is? March 22nd. may be asked in 1 mark every year to make the people aware about the importance of water and to take steps to conserve water. World Water Day is observed on March 22nd. Understand? And this water is available in 3 forms: solid, liquid and gas. I think all of you know. And all these 3 forms are interchangeable. That is, it may be converted from one form to another through the process called evaporation and condensation. On heating and cooling, the forms of water can be interchanged. And this water is available on the Earth's surface in various forms. That is, the first one, it is available as groundwater. What is this groundwater? The water that is present below the ground, underground. How the underground water is formed? When it rains, the rainwater enters into the earth by percolation. That means drop by drop it will enter into the soil particles and it will reach the water table. That means there is a layer beyond which the water will not enter. The earth surface are present with several layers. So there will be some space between the layers till several kilometers only. Then after that, a rocky surface will be present. Beyond that, the water will not enter. Understand? So the water will be reach the water table and it will be stored. It is also, groundwater is also called as aquifers. Also called as aquifers. It is the water level that is present under the ground where it is stored. That is called aquifers. So this water table maintains the groundwater aquifers. When water scarcity arises, this groundwater only will be utilized by the people through the bore wells. We are digging bore wells, is it not? From where the water comes up? From the aquifers only. So when water scarcity comes, we can use the underground water. And this underground water helps in retaining the moisture of the soil, maintains the groundwater level. Next one, this groundwater will be utilized and this will be maintained through the water cycle. This will be maintained, this underground water will be maintained by the water cycle. That means from the water bodies, water will evaporate and it will be formed as water vapor, and that water vapor condenses to form the rain, and the rain comes down and reaches the ground to as a groundwater. So like this, the water is maintained in a cyclic manner, that is called water cycle, which helps in the maintenance of the underground water. And this rainfall, depending upon the receiving the rainfall, it is what is that? It is divided into 4 regions. That is distribution of water. Water is distributed in that is as 4 regions. What are those 4 regions? Wet zone. First one, wet zone. Then intermediate zone. Next one, semi-arid zone. Then the last one is the arid zone. So, according to the distribution of water on the year, it is divided into 4 regions, that is wet zone, intermediate, semi-arid and arid. In this wet zone, there will be very heavy rainfall. Very heavy rainfall. That means these regions will receive rainfall above 200 centimeters. In a year, these wet zone regions will receive rainfall above 200 centimeters of rainfall. Next one, in intermediate zone, that is, if we have heavy rainfall, that is from 100 to 200 centimeters, the rainfall will be there in a year. Next one, semi-arid zone, that is from 50 to 100 centimeters, moderate rainfall. Next, the last one, arid zone, that is less than the average level. Below 50 centimeters rainfall only will be received. So, according to the rainfall received in a region, it is divided into 4 regions, that is wet zone, intermediate, semi-arid and arid zone. These centimeters you have to remember, may be asked in 1 mark. Wet zone will receive more than 200 centimeters of rainfall in a year. Intermediate means from 100 to 200. Semi-arid means moderate rainfall, that is from 50 to 100. Then arid zone below 50 centimeters. Next one, we receive the rainfall and we should take steps to store these rainwater for the future use. Or else, what will happen? Water crisis will arise. What is this water crisis? Unavailability of water for the essential life. If the water is not available for the living of the human beings, then it is called water crisis. For a person, averagely nearly 50 liters of water is needed for a single person in a day. If it is not available, means that is called water crisis. If water crisis should not be there, means we should take steps to conserve the water. For that, several systems should be maintained. Traditionally, people constructed that Bowery system. Bowery. B-A-W-R-A. That means they will dig the earth to store rainwater for future use. So like this, some steps must be taken. Nowadays also ponds and lakes are there, but it is not maintained properly and we are not able to store the rainwater. So that systems and all should be maintained well for the future use, or else it will lead to water crisis. And to avoid the water scarcity, we should follow some steps. We should reduce the usage of water. We should avoid wasting the water. Leakages of taps and all should be repaired then and there. Storage of rainwater is very essential. It should be done in all the places. Then only the underground water will be recharged. Like this, several steps should be taken to maintain the water level and to avoid the water crisis. So these are all the points that we discussed in the chapter 16, water, a precious resource. So today in this class we revised 2 lessons, and in the next class we will revise that chapter 17, forest, our lifeline. So children, read well for the exam and do the exam properly, and without spelling mistakes you read and write. Thank you children.